Now, I am super excited. Drum roll, please. We've heard about how you all found sponsors. Let's find out what's on the sponsor's mind. And I'd like to bring Duff from Sourcewell front and center to have a conversation with us. Now, Duff, you've been part of the Chapter Academy, I think, forever. You have been a sponsor. You have found some value here, but we'd really like to hear from you. We want to give value back to you. So talk to us.
Sure. Thank you, Peggy. And thanks for the opportunity. As I did last year in person, I applaud all the attendees. Your volunteerism is maybe unparalleled. First, you volunteer at your chapter level to give back to everyone new to the profession. So much to you. But also, Peggy, if everyone can unmute, I have to say, I think you deserve a huge round of applause. You bring energy, focus. I've been so impressed. I know. I'm
Good
there.
job.
Okay. As Peggy pointed out, now that I've applauded her, how old I am and how long I've been around. 14 years of sponsoring, 4 different verticals, tons of opportunities, lots of you in the room. And again, these are just my opinions. I'm sure NIGP is going to scroll. The views of this sponsor are in no way reflected. No, hopefully not. So I kind of broke it down into 2 segments, and the one should be so familiar to those of you in the procurement profession, the way we've always done it. And I'm going to start with that. And I call it the Olympic podium approach as far as sponsorships. Again, we've got the bronze, silver, gold, and maybe we pile the plutonium sponsorship on top of that. And then you have a neat little chart that reflects for your financial involvement, this is what you get. For those of you that have always done it this way and feel it works splendidly and everything is good and nothing needs to be revised, this would be a great opportunity to fill your coffee cup or cocktail cup or take a bathroom break. But for anyone left in the room, if this is your technique, here are some thoughts from a sponsor. Document sponsors past. I say this because you rely on volunteers who may change monthly, definitely probably change annually. But if you are savvy, maybe you find someone really good at this within your chapter and you stick it as their task for life. I say that as a sponsor. But document sponsors past, reach out and pursue them. I don't know. And if you do all these things and at the end I've added nothing, then I will apologize. Something that, again, 14 years, follow up after the event, not with a Survey Monkey opportunity, but with a personal note from either the person in charge or, heaven forbid, someone who's volunteering to be in your leadership chain. That would mean so much. Not the thanks, but the actual, how did you tie your mission to my financial support? That helps me down the road, like next year, when I go back to my organization and say, really believe in this, I think we should. And I meant to start with this. Your own Fred Kuhn, Chief Growth Officer, probably hiding somewhere with his camera muted. But he said something that stuck with me. No money, no mission. The mission is what's important, and you can't do it without the money. So again, follow up after. Let them know how their financial support actually tied into your mission, what it meant. We were able to send 12 people to forum, whatever it happened to be. Start early. And those of you who are going, we do, then I'm going to say start earlier. And everyone has a budget cycle. And again, speaking strictly for Sourcewell, our fiscal year runs July 1 to June 30. We had to have everything in and approved for our board by April 1st. Wow. If your event's next May, I'm SOL if you're coming to me at that point. So the earlier you can start, the better. Again, we're still on the traditional. Do you consider giving your incumbent sponsors that you are now documenting and know who they are the first shot at next year? And could you tie this into the thank you email and in there say, we would love to hold this spot for you and we will give you until make up a date, until we open it up to everyone, including your major competitor. I can say it now because U.S. Communities does not exist, at least in U.S. Communities form. But I would always go back to my old people, or my own people. They are old too. I would go back to my own people and say, okay, if you're not sold, how would you feel if we didn't take this sponsorship and instead they did? So again, plant that seed with them. Maybe eliminate sponsorships that are hard to fill. Boy, we seem to have a new coffee break sponsor every year. We seem to have or these seem to be the last ones to go. Like your procurement process, your procurement manual, your procurement policy manual, which I know you look at every 6 months and revise, maybe your sponsorship model should be reviewed in the same way. So again, to recap the old, start early, outreach to past sponsors, email follow-up, thank you, tying mission to money. But now, I know, Peggy, if we're on a time constraint, you let me know.
No, Duff, I just got to ask the question. We want to get to the next part.
Yes.
Let's go.
You willing to think outside of the box? And if you have any props, Peggy, put up a box and take my picture off, put up a dollar sign, whatever. So here are some things to think about and consider. Is it possible to tie or pair some of your educational content to sponsorships? And I'll give a real life example this year. Because of the pandemic, because of the virtual nature, could you have had an IT-driven panel with your own agency's IT directors and possibly providers of the new norm technology requirements to discuss what you need to buy, how supply and demand is affecting it, etc. And again, other ideas to pair some of your educational content might be construction procurement and invite contractors and construction procurement experts from within your membership. Or heaven forbid, are you going to do a panel on cooperative purchasing? Could you invite the co-ops? And again, for all of these things, can you make them pay for the right, as Drake has said, to have the podium? In this case, as an industry expert, be careful on the cooperative panel there who you invite. No, I'm kidding. And then can you charge for it? Would they be willing to be the IT sponsor and be included in the session? Non-traditional sponsorships, I've seen them come up, and again, I don't know if these ideas are new, good, whatever. I ran them by Carrie Mathis, who I use as a litmus test for some things good in procurement, and she admitted that, wow, I hadn't thought of that. That made me feel better. Non-traditional, outside of scheduled events. Can you have a website sponsor? All of you probably do. Can you have
Bob, I'm so glad you said that. I'm sorry. We paid for an entire web redo by getting a web sponsor. Love that idea.
Can you have scholarship sponsors? I won't bring up our own involvement with NIGP, the parentship, but can you do that? Special events or purpose. Are you feeding the homeless or housing the homeless or picking up the ditches? And can you find a sponsor for those things? I said the annual due reduction sponsor, but it will be the annual member reinvestment sponsor, or the verbiage that was brought up. I liked it. How about just a friend of the chapter and replace friend with a supporter of the chapter sponsor? Again, your mission requires money and you're thinking outside the box to get there. You'll be happy to know one of my final points is giant resellers. We all know them. You probably all buy from them. Office Depot, Staples, CDW, Grainger, et al. They may not be able to sponsor, but they resell for giant manufacturers who do have budgets to expand their brand awareness. If you're taking my advice and doing the special event of cleaning the ditches, I don't expect you to do that. Maybe Rubbermaid would pony up the money to promote that event. Again, just ideas to think about. Another idea, do you poll your own membership for common use amongst these giant resellers especially? And could you use the statistics you gain to go back to them? Ranger, 84% of our members claim they all purchase from you. Would you be willing to join us at our and pay for that privilege? All right. There's 72 of you. You're all different. You're all unique. You all have your own mission. Don't think it's any different with your sponsors. If you're only going to offer cookie cutter solutions and not consider each of us to be different, you may be limited by that. I'll use a real life example. We still have 3 minutes. No, I'm teasing. There was a $100 reverse vendor fair, and I was invited to go to it from Minnesota. It at the time cost about $1,500 per event to fly someone, to house someone, to per diem someone, whatever it might be. So I responded back and said, hey, would you consider us creating a membership where I write you a check for $1,500 and I'm going to invite 10 of our awarded manufacturers as a cooperative to send their local dealers a 2-hour event right in their backyard. Would you consider this? Sadly, I never heard back from them, but did receive the next generic email, please join us. And I thought, okay, so out of the box, be flexible, treat your sponsors as individuals. Again, you ask for input, document history, document feedback, align ed content if you can with sponsorships, and start earlier than you thought. Thanks for the opportunity to add to the discussion. I thought I was first, so I look forward to listening to the rest, but I look forward to listening to all of it today. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go on mute, I got a question for you. I totally love this. I mean, I totally love it. And just to sort of amplify some of the things you said real quickly, the scholarship. So we have an award that goes to our Educator of the Year. And don't you know, we have a sponsor and they didn't want their name anywhere else, but they wanted their name associated with a commitment to education. So just so you know, it's a wonderful thing. And then you said friend of the chapter. I can't tell you that we launched that 3 years ago and it's small dollars, but it's big dollars. I love it. So you are brilliant. Hats off. But I have a question for you. I totally get that you're on a fiscal year. So I'm going to pretend for a moment that I'm in the Maryland chapter and I'm calling you up and I'm saying, I know your fiscal year starts July 1. I have no idea what I'm doing next year, but I'm doing some incredible things. How do I get you to put me in your budget? And I swear I'll make it worth it.
Well, again, just because you reached out would put you in the super minority. And I say that after 14 years. I usually get the generic sent to all. And here's how I can tell it's sent to all. And Andrea Foreign, this is not you. You did not do this, but I'm using you as the reference. It's from Andrea Foreign and it's to Andrea Foreign, which tells me it's a list she's compiled of all of her opportunities. And right away, that's a red flag with me. I'm like,
but it was free, Duff. It was free.
Yeah. It's all good. Again, it takes time to raise money. It takes effort to raise money. And it takes time and effort to educate your members. But if the money is essential, some little things that might help in the future are the follow-up. I think you can wrap up next year's with really good follow-up from this year's. Boy, Duff, thanks. Again, I'll think of Fred Kuhn and our own involvement. Thanks for supporting our scholarship sponsorship. Here is who is affected. Here's how many got to do this. I can then turn around to my own people and say, don't you ever think of discontinuing this or not doing this? Look at this feedback. And that's the purpose of it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Huge wave of the hat. Salute to you for taking the time here.